Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Sorry it's been a while since I did one of these stories. I've been quite busy. First thing I have to declare is my book is out, so if you want to read about what it's like to run from Paris to Istanbul, 2,300 miles, whilst living in a van, this is the book for you. Also, I've had very good news in the last few weeks. 4 of my short stories, 2 of which I've read on this channel, are being published by different publications. So I've been submitting quite a lot of stories, and I have this strange system where for every 1 rejection I get, I send out at least 2 other stories, so or 2 submissions, perhaps of the same story. So it sort of means that rejection fuels my efforts in a sense. Anyway, this system seems to work, so I would highly recommend it to anyone out there who's also trying to get published. But anyway, this has gone off. I am now going to read you a short story, again, based on 5 random words. Let me just have a quick sip of coffee. It's called, well, first of all, of course, gosh, I've forgotten, it's been so long. The 5 words that this story is inspired by are here. And the story is called Float Me Down the River. I've always loved wild swimming. It's what I miss most since they banned visits to the countryside. 3 more years, the government said. 3 more years until the nanobots wind down and the last of them drop lifeless to the earth. We're told around 1 million of the fleas, as they were nicknamed, remain, drifting the Earth's moist places in search of their programmed victims, and occasionally killing a careless farmhand or schoolboy crossing the fens. I'm walking with Richard hand in hand, daringly gloveless as we cross Grantchester Meadows in the direction of the river. With just a few nanobots left from the billion once released, and only a tiny fraction of those malfunctioning and delivering a fatal bite to a human, our chances of calamity are minuscule. We've been cooped up in a teeming city for years. It feels worth the risk. A breeze ruffles the tiny hairs on my forearm. I have rolled my sleeves up, recklessness taking over in the idyllic June afternoon. This curve of the river would once have been loud with picnicking families and groups of half-naked kids hurling themselves into the deep pools of the languorously gliding River Cam. Today it is as quiet as a graveyard, although alive with the fluttering confetti of butterflies amongst the buttercups and daisies. Our usual spot? Richard's smile lacks even a trace of irony. I nod vigorously as we head for our once familiar bend, where a willow tree offers shade and a sandbank provides an easy access point into the deep green waters. We won't be swimming today, however. Not even I am that reckless. We have a story prepared in case we are caught. I've got terminal cancer, and this spot is where Richard proposed marriage to me years ago. An Environmental Protection Officer, EPO, would have to have a heart of stone not to allow us a pass. Richard can cry on cue, and I do a great line in shamefaced apology. We spread our blanket on the springy grass and sit in dappled sunlight, wishing we could take off our shoes and socks. How freighted with irony the EPO's role is now. Where once the office worked to protect the environment from us, now it has the reverse function. That's assuming you allow that the fleas are now a part of the environment, which they surely are. The fleas were going to save humanity. Well, a large swathe of it. They were engineered to capture mosquitoes in their minuscule holds, like those military aircraft that can swallow trucks, then neutralize their ability to transmit disease by injecting a bioengineered enzyme into the captive insects. Within a year, it was estimated that malaria, dengue fever, and the Zika virus would be eradicated, and it has worked. Unfortunately, the flea's tiny AIs have one design flaw. They can't tell the difference between a mosquito-shaped blob and an actual mosquito. Quite a lot of things superficially resemble mosquitoes, seemingly. Biscuit crumbs, splashes of mud, moles, lots of things that can trigger a bite, and the squirt of an enzyme that, it transpires, is fatal to humans. 27,000 accidental deaths, most of them amongst poor agricultural labourers. Woe betide any contrarian who counters with the 4.5 million malarial deaths that would have otherwise occurred. We lay out the chicken wings, crisps, cherry tomatoes, Mediterranean dips, slices of pita bread and crudities, and pour ourselves glasses of river-cooled rosé. Tears fill my eyes, a kind of aching happiness. I bury my face in Richard's broad chest. That's when I feel it. The sharp prick on my right underarm. Ouch! Richard panics. What? Let me see. It's a tick. He picks the tiny silver speck from my arm. It isn't a tick. You can even see a tiny serial number printed on its underside. Richard squishes the flea and tosses it into the long grass. Fucking hell, is all he can think to say. Then, once rationality returns, we need to get you to a hospital, now. He wrenches me to my feet, and already I can't put any weight on my legs. My consciousness is clouding. I look at a tiny smear of blood on my forearm. There's a tiny freckle I'd never previously noticed. Come on, Sylvie, lean into me. I'd never seen Richard, lovely, lazy Richard, move so urgently. He begins to hobble across the meadow, dragging me alongside. The light is dimming, sound fading. That house is closer than our car. I know I'm doomed. The ridiculousness of that word doesn't quite carry the requisite gravitas. I have 5 minutes at best. The nearest hospital is 20 minutes away. It's in my bloodstream now, and that's that. Richard has a deeply logical brain. He's the proper adult in our relationship. He'll reach the same conclusion eventually. Stop. Just stop, will you? He does. Turns my face to his. Tears stream down his angular face. I want to swim, I whisper. Richard is confused. I struggle through the veils of encroaching darkness. I want a kiss, then I want you to float me down the river. He looks at me like I'm crazy. But Richard knows how stubborn I am, knows how I can make my last moments a living hell for him if he doesn't grant these last wishes. The first is easy. Richard kisses me deeply, a desperate embrace I can't return. His eyes scan mine. I try to smile. His determination alters. Right you are, Sliver, his nickname for me, one last time. It's like a baptism. I can hear him stifle a sob. Then once the current takes me, the sound of trickling water is all. A blue sky with candy floss clouds, gleaming sunlight through the willow fronds. The water isn't even cold, but then all sensations are slipping away. Eventually, only its buoyancy remains. This feels familiar, a return to the womb. The river embraces and supports me and sends me on my way. So, maybe a bit of a downer, that one, but I quite like the idea of writing a story from the point of view of someone who can't be telling it. It's quite an interesting literary device, actually. But anyway, maybe she survives. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will be back with another one, hopefully sooner than 2 weeks from now. My plan with these stories is to reach 100, and then maybe see if I can get a book published. And I might continue further pieces, but on Patreon, which I have started. I've started a Patreon site. I'll put a link in the description of this video. But there isn't much there. There's a chapter of a potential novel, but I'm going to add more as the weeks go on. What else was I going to say? Oh yes, you won't just another thing. You won't see the 2 stories that are being published from this collection of stories on the YouTube channel, and they are The Pact and The End of Money. So I've taken them down temporarily. That's because the literary magazines require exclusivity and first publishing rights, so they can't be online in any form, even spoken. So yeah, that's why those are no longer available. Anyway, it's all good news, and encouraging that persevering with absolute focus and intensity will eventually pay off. There's a lesson for us all. So until next time, thanks for watching, and see you soon.